Greetings, LoreSeekers, and welcome back to another episode of the Lost Archives, a Star Wars Legends lore series. So today, I'm going to be talking about the Ysalamir, a creature that had evolved to essentially create a dead zone, or bubble, in the Force, where no Force abilities or even beings in the Force could be sensed. Now, this ability was a direct evolutionary response to a creature known as the Vonscra. Now, the Vonscra was a creature that hunted the Ysalamir, and they evolved this bubble to prevent the Vonscra from finding them. Naturally, this meant that any force powers used in the vicinity of the Ysalamir would cease to function. So, if you, say, were an Imperial Admiral who knew of this ability and wanted to deal with a potentially dangerous force-sensitive person who might try to snap your neck or zap you to death, placing one of these on a container where it will be happily just sitting away will provide you with the protection you need while dealing with that force-sensitive. Now, these creatures were lizard-like, tiny lizards in appearance, roughly being about 50 centimetres in length when fully grown. Now, get yourself a 30 centimetre ruler and then put that down, draw a line, add another 20. That's roughly the size of the lizard. Tiny creatures. Tiny when they're fully grown. Which meant they could be easily carried around on a backpack or some other things. The trick is keeping them there, then when they won't go in search of food. So, what sort of food do the Ysalamir eat? Well, they basically exist and live on what's known as an old tree. They sink their claws into it and pretty much will stay there their entire lives and draw nutrients from the trees. The way in which to attach them to a backpack would be with a nutrient sac similar to the trees, where you could sink them in and they'd just happily sit there, drawing nutrients from the backpack, all the while giving you this protection of this bubble. Usually, the biggest problem with trying to use Ysalamir is if you don't know how to remove them from the trees, they will die when you take them out of the trees. Now, the Talon's smuggling group actually found a way of removing the Ysalamir from the trees without killing them. And because of this, a certain Chiss Grand Admiral also learned how to do this and would use these creatures to deal with various force-sensitive individuals he knew that could be a problem to him. Now, something you might have also said is, how do these things have young if they're attached to the back of a tree for all eternity? Well, they basically have, when they are reproducing, bubble-like egg sacs that their young would hatch from and would live around until they'd grown to maturity, and then they would either share the parent tree, growing and getting bigger until they'd reach adulthood, and then they'd go off and find their own tree. So they can live without the trees, it's just getting them off them is really, really hard. Though eventually, as time goes, these creatures would reveal their secrets and various organisations would use them in dealing with Jedi. In fact, Luke Skywalker's New Jedi Order would use these in their detainment facilities for renegade Jedi or others from other Force groups who were doing naughty things. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so is this bubble anti-Force? Well, that's not strictly true, because as has been a precedent set in the Star Wars universe, the Force is in all things. So for the Ysalamir to be anti-Force, that wouldn't really work. What they actually do is they create a Force bubble, where those people who have the ability to influence and manipulate the Force, they can't. So the Force is still inside the bubbles, but any natural Force abilities or anything that has evolved to use the Force just won't function within this bubble. That'd be the hunter instincts of the Vonscras, the abilities of any Jedi, Sith, or any Force-sensitive user, and unfortunately this also means that the Miraluka are going to be blind within this bubble. Poor buggers. For those of you who don't know, the Miraluka are a Force-sensitive, near-human species that actually see using the Force. So, to them, if they see just a patch of nothingness, it probably means that there is a Ysalamir in that patch. Now, this bubble does have an effective meter range of about 10 meters. If you were to group Ysalamir together, they could then combine these bubbles and even produce up to kilometers of length. Though that would have to be a hell of a lot of them, which Thrawn did use when he was using the Wayland cloning facility. Now, One of the big issues of cloning Force sensitives is Force imprints. Using Ysalamir you can actually negate that and also grow clones at a much faster rate. I'll probably go into its own video about that. But this has been just a short video on the Ysalamir. As always, my sources will be listed in the description down below. If you like this video, perhaps consider leaving me a like, maybe getting a discussion going down in the comments. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate a share as well, as this does help the channel to grow. Anyway, Lore Seekers, I will catch you on the next episode. Take care, and may the Lore Keepers ever be in your favour.